Beer O'Clock, and this is the Beer O'Clock show where every week we take a selected beer and discuss its various merits. My name is Mark, all fresh after a much needed week off, and joining me, itching and scratching after an unwanted week off, is my beer mentor Steve. Hello Steve.
Hi Mark, how are you doing after your break?
I'm doing very well. I've been out of London for an entire week. It's been amazing.
Oh, lovely.
And now I'm back in London and I can feel it already. It's pressing against me.
So it must be time for a beer then.
Exactly. Yeah, much needed beer. Oh dear. Talking of which, tell us about the beers you've had in the last week and a bit, mate. I know you've had a few.
Mate, too many to mention them all. As always, if people do have a real thirst for seeing what it is I've been drinking, I'd encourage them to have a look at my Untapped profile, and you can have a look at all the beers there. But I'd just pick up on a couple of standouts, I suppose. I had a Black Rocks by Buxton, which is a black IPA that Buxton do, which didn't manage to have the pure version of that when I was up at Buxton, because it had been blended with something else. So I had a bottle of that. That was pretty stunning actually. No, it wasn't a bottle. It was off keg actually, and that was a really nice, refreshing pint. Also did a bottle of Magic. No, again, not a bottle. Why do I keep calling them bottles? Did a Magic Rock 8-ball, Magic 8-ball. Which again was their black IPA, and again, as you'd expect from a Magic Rock beer, absolutely stunning. And then this past Friday night, I had a bit of an evening on the Weird Beard beers, where I did four different Weird Beard beers, all different styles, but all interesting and can all hold their own in their own right. I think probably the highlight of that might have been the first one that I did, which was one called The Little Things That Kill, which was 3.8%, and it was a really, really hoppy beer. It was like one of these that you'd expect it to have a much higher ABV. So that was quite a nice start to the evening, and then I followed that up with the collaboration that they did with Brewdog, Camden Beard, which was an American wheat beer, not a wheat, or was it an American? No, it was American wheat ale, not a wheat beer, as you would, as a typical wheat beer, which should be kind of more golden, and this was more browny, and didn't really have that wheaty, yeasty taste to it. It had more of the kind of Brewdog-ness coming through it than anything else, I think. Right. So yeah, that was quite a fun evening. But yeah, like I say, if people do want to really have a look at the beers that I've drunk over the last couple of weeks since we've last been on air, just go and have a look at my Untapped profile, and if you've got any comments to make comments on there. I know that's a bit lazy, but shit, there's been a lot of beers this last couple of weeks.
Yeah, so you check all your Untappeds into they show up on the Beer O'Clock show Twitter feed.
They do, yeah.
So you just follow the link from there. You can follow me on Untapped. I think it's Roku, ROKKU. I'm on Untapped. I only tap in 2 or 3 a week. It's not really worth following me. Steve's is where the real action is.
I'm knocking on the door of I'm almost on 600 now. So I've done 100 different beers in it was only a few weeks ago we was talking about my 500th beer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping someone's bought me some sort of day admission to the Priory for Christmas or something like that.
Oh dear, I think they'll just tie you down and force feed you green tea all weekend or something.
I think so. Well, I'm going. I'm doing the whole dry January thing again, and I'm going to be doing it for charity. And we'll talk about bit more about that in a few weeks, because I'm kind of hoping that our listeners and our followers will get involved in what it is that I'm planning on doing. But there's plenty of time to talk about that in weeks to come.
Indeed.
What about you? Have you been drinking much while you've been off?
Well, I've been
recuperating.
I've been up at the in-laws for a week, so it goes without saying, really. No, I jest. They're nice enough. I can actually tell you all the beers I've had because I think I tapped them all in, and there's only 5 over the course of a week. There must be some more that I haven't tapped in, I'm sure. Had a Bass or a Base Pale Ale from Bass Brewers.
Yeah, Bass.
Yeah. That was fine. Samuel Adams Boston Lager, which we've had before. Wisteria wheat beer or wheat ale from Fordham Brewing. That wasn't too bad for a wheat one. I thought that was quite nice.
Yeah, you're not normally a fan of the wheat beers, are you?
No, it's that weird yeasty bit that they get in them. But that's all I can say, really. It's got a weird taste to them usually, but that wasn't too bad. Beach House by Old Dominion, which wasn't too shabby. Wild River, that Fuller's beer that I told you about.
Oh yeah.
That I picked up.
Any good? Out of the bottle? Was it out of the bottle?
It was out of the bottle, yeah. And like all Fuller's beers, it does the job. It's not disgusting. You know, it's simple enough.
Yeah.
I would recommend it if you haven't had it before. If you just want a refreshing beer. And then I topped the weekend or the week off with a Doom Bar, which is one of my favourites. Which is always a good old reliable ale. Doom Bar. And that's it. That's my lot. I'm sure I had some others mixed in there, but I obviously didn't tuck them in. Never mind.
It's a decent selection,
Yeah.
at least. Yeah.
And I've got, they're still in the car, a whole trunk full of beer from what I picked up in Sainsbury's when I was up there, and from you when I came and saw you last week as well.
You must have about a year's supply now.
For me, yes. Maybe not for you. Maybe a Friday night for you. Oh, and no, there was a couple in there that I had, which were the American style craft lagers that you had in that box. That I don't think I tapped in.
Okay.
Do you remember putting some
there were craft lagers in there?
I think so. Or maybe I bought them. I can't remember. But yeah, they're decent beers for lagers. I gave half of one to my mother-in-law. She drinks really cheap lager and wanted to taste, and it almost took her head off because they're like 5%.
And there's the difference.
Yeah, that's the difference between that and Skoal. Never mind. We've got a few things to talk about this week before we get to the main beer. We have another live event coming up before Christmas. It's slightly different to our last one in that it's not a hosted walk, but rather just a ramble with lots of beer in between the walkie bits. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about this, Steve?
Yeah, I went out and walked the route a couple of weeks ago with the random bloke off Twitter, Justin. We went and did a walkthrough one Thursday evening, and I've got to say that and obviously clearly I'm biased, but if you're coming along, you're in for an absolute treat because it's a stunning little route and there's some amazing bars and pubs along the route. I'm not going to really spoil it too much for anyone because I think it is a good crawl. It's kind of on and off the overground line between Stratford and Gospel Oak, which isn't too bad a thing because at least it breaks up the drinking. But it's a really nice crawl and we've made some changes to the route since we first started advertising it. We were originally going to go to London Fields, but that would actually involve us changing train lines, so we'd need to be on a different train line because it's slightly off the path. So what we've done is we've subbed that out and we're putting in Brewdog in Camden. Now, I know that Brewdog isn't everybody's cup of tea. It's very much a Marmite situation, but we've thrown it in on the middle of a Saturday afternoon. So for those people that really can't stand the prospect of having to go into Brewdog, there's Camden Market. You can go off. You can have a wander around for the hour or so that we're in Brewdog, and we'll pick you up afterwards. But it made more sense just to stay with bars that were on what was politely named as the hipster highway. Along the train route from Gospel Oak all the way down to Stratford. But all details are up on the website now, as is the booking link. So those of you that haven't yet booked your place and are thinking about coming, hopefully that wonderful little sales pitch there will tip you over the edge. But if you still need more convincing, you can go onto our website and there are links to all of the pubs and the bars that we're going to on there as well.
Yeah, it should be a good night out. We've got about 9 people signed up already, which is quite nice.
Yeah, we got kind of a lot of people sign up really quickly for it, and I mean it's not essential that people sign up. We'd like them to, because it will give us an idea of how many people we're liable to be waiting for at the beginning of the day. But what we plan to do throughout the days is to kind of tweet where we are on the route. So if people want to join us at any point during the day, we can give you an anticipated sort of time that will be arriving somewhere. And by all means, those of you that are booked on and are coming, don't feel as though you have to stay the entire route either. If you want to drop off at some point, then by all means do that. It's purely just us connecting with the people that support what we do, having a few good drinks for Christmas. Personally, I've got a fantastic city hat to wear. I'm off out tomorrow to buy my Christmas jumper. I'm all over it. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it's free. There's nothing to do other than sign up. Come along, drink beer, talk beer, have a wander around London. It's going to be amazing. And London is, providing the weather's good, London is lovely to walk around at that time of year.
Yeah, and as I say, you will not be disappointed by the bars that we've chosen, because some of them you just wouldn't expect them to be, firstly, where they are, or secondly, what they are and what's inside them. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about that in weeks to come as well, as we continue to promote the hell out of it.
You had a little visit somewhere special last week as well, didn't you?
I did, yeah. We you probably remember back a few weeks ago, we had James Yeomans, an interview with James Yeomans from Hop Stuff Brewery on the end of one of our shows. Well, James got in touch a few weeks ago to say we're moved in, we're up and running, we're producing beers. Come down and see what we've done and try the beers. So went down there last week. There's a full blog about it up on the website at the moment, which I put out last week in place for show. But it was actually the one really encouraging thing about the day was it was good to have seen what James was talking to us about in the interview turned into reality, and now a functional operating brewery. And James is just so excited by it all. I mean, he's putting in ridiculous hours at the moment, but he said, you know, he used to work in the city in London, and he said he wouldn't have traded it. The decision he's made was the right one. He wouldn't change his mind. He doesn't regret making the decision to go into producing beer. But tried his beers as well. They're good sessionable, quaffable beers. They've got a few specials in the pipeline as well over the next few months. But I think they're going to become quite a big name in certainly in southeast in that part of London, southeast London initially. I think look out for Hop Stuff Brewery. I think it won't be long before you'll be seeing their stuff everywhere, actually.
Cool. Okay, excellent. We've got a couple of milestones hovering around at this time. We had one recently on Twitter, and we've got one coming up for the show itself. Tell us a little bit about the first milestone that we hit. Was it last week we hit it?
It was, yeah. We hit 1,000 followers, which we were thrilled about. So, knowing that we were taking an unscheduled break, I don't think that sentence makes sense, because I wouldn't have known it was unscheduled if it was not knowing that we were going to take an unscheduled break, and then finding out we were taking an unscheduled break. I decided to fire up the random number generator off air and to let it do its stuff, and it pulled out a guy by the name of Guy Miller, at BrewGuy_DHL from the northeast of England, who won the bottle of Strongman, the glass from Magic Rock, and the T-shirt from Magic Rock, and they went off to Guy last week. So congratulations, Guy. I don't know if you're a listener or a follower. I think you're more a follower than a listener. But if you are listening, congratulations, and I do hope you enjoy this Strongman from your Magic Rock glass, wearing your medium Magic Rock T-shirt.
Let's hope you're a medium as well. I'm sure you are.
Yeah, because clearly all beer drinkers are medium sized T-shirts.
Of course. And we got an even, in my mind, even bigger milestone coming up next week, which is when we have our 50th episode.
Woo!
For a podcast that I didn't think would last beyond a season. We're now heading towards the end of our third season with the 50th show next week. We have a very, very special beer that we've been holding on to, well, since last year. We've been holding on to this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what it is, unless you want to say what it is.
I think it's probably on the beer list on the website, isn't it?
Okay. Well, here's the magic reveal. It is the 2012 Fuller's Vintage Ale limited edition, big bottle as well, 500ml, 8.5%. So next Monday night we're going to record the 50th episode. I'm going to get absolutely rat-arsed because I'm sculling that bastard.
No, seriously. No, savour this one. Enjoy it. It's a special bit. We've been aging it for a year, and we
make
had
a shandy with it.
Sorry.
Gonna make a shandy with it.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna make a shandy with it. Please don't, because otherwise there won't be a 51st episode.
And I picked up the 2013 Vintage Ale last week, and we both got a bottle of that now. So that's for next year's 100th episode.
Yeah, well, I was reading the back of that, and the ingredients on this year's one sound absolutely lovely. They sound really, really stunning, and this one's been designed to be aged until at least 2022, is it? So
wow.
They're looking at least a 10-year aging for that before they reckon it'd be at its absolute best.
Okay, well, I'm not waiting that long.
No, I think we'll just get into a kind of circle of doing one every year, just aging it for a year and then doing it.
Yeah. I've never actually.
So yeah, that's going to be fun next week. 50 episodes. Like I say, I when we started this, mate, I thought we probably had 10 in us.
Well, after the first one, I thought we'd have 2 at tops. But we've done all right.
Having listened back to it recently, I'm surprised we did more than 2.
But we've done okay. Yeah.
Yes, we have.
But we'll get into all of that kind of heartfelt mumbo jumbo, crying on each other's shoulders next week.
Yes. We might have the odd announcement or 2 next week as well.
Really?
But we'll keep that one under our hats for now.
How exciting! I always forget what these announcements are if I know them.
I know. Yeah, I do tell you.
But it's like a little surprise from my Alzheimer's. And I have some plans for a very special edit as well, which you have no idea about.
Oh, now I'm very excited. Is this where you've kept all those bloopers and clips, haven't you, from all over the last year?
I've got all of the original recordings going back to episode 1.
You're not going to pull out clips from that what we like referring to as the lost episode, the one that we recorded in January when we was dry and spent the whole time not talking about beer.
No, I don't think so. God help me. Anyway, do we have any beer news, mate?
Just one thing to pick up on, which is probably old news now, and I probably should have mentioned it weeks ago, and then I was going to mention it last week, and then we didn't record. But for those of you that might have missed this, Magic Rock have changed the name of one of their beers. They previously had a beer called Curious Pale Ale, which was one of the first beers they ever brewed, and following a polite letter that they received from another brewery that have the name Curious Brew trademarked, they chose to change the name of the beer. So Magic Rock have a new name for an old beer. It's now called Ringmaster, rather than Curious. So that's the only tiny little bit of beer news that I've got. Okay. That's been not even really news anymore, because like I say, it's about 4 weeks old, that. So, information in case anybody missed it.
Oh dear. Okay, well, in that case, let's get on with this week's featured beer, which is another one on our roster of American ales that we've been sampling this season. This one is from Portland, Oregon. Is it?
No,
Kona,
it's from Hawaii.
Hawaii, Portland, Oregon, Williamsville, Washington. Looks like they've got various bottling facilities around the US. But considering it says on the back, always aloha, I'm assuming it's a Hawaiian beer. This is from the Kona Brewing Company. It is called the Fire Rock Pale Ale. And it is what's the percentage? Does it have the percentage on it? I can't see it. 6% ABV. 355ml bottle. Stephen, what do you know about Kona?
Very little, apart from what I'm about to read from their website.
Okay, go for it.
In fact, no, that's not even about Kona. That's about the beer. So,
Well, what do you know about this Fire Rock Pale Ale, mate?
I'm going to tell you about the beer, and then I think I'll tell you about the brewery when we're drinking the beer.
Okay.
So what I know about this is it's crisp and refreshing.
Oh, good.
It's apparently, yes, it's a crisp, refreshing Hawaiian-style pale ale. The signature copper colour results from the unique blend of specialty roasted malts. Pronounced citrus floral hop aroma comes from the liberal amount of hops added to each brew. And the name and the colour are named after the lava flowing from the Big Island's volcano to the sea. Hence why it's called Fire Rock Pale Ale.
Okay, so I'm assuming it's going to be kind of like a ready ale then.
Well, not looking at this picture of the website, it looks very much like a lager.
Oh.
So a very, very kind of golden blonde sort of colour.
So it's golden blonde lava coming from their volcanoes then.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Right, well, buddy, I'm thirsty.
Let's do this.
Let's crack this open and give it a taste. Oh, I found my Adnams bottle opener, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's up at the in-laws.
Ah.
That was a bit of a treat.
Oh, that's a lovely aroma coming out of the bottle on that. It's really tropical fruit coming out of the bottle. Right, okay, now that colour looks nothing like the picture on the website. So that is the coppery red colour that you suggested it would probably look like.
That's a very fresh nose on it as well.
That's lovely, isn't it? It's like that's just like stepping outside.
Yep.
And getting a nice lungful of fresh air.
Oh,
maybe not where you live, but certainly down here it's like stepping outside.
Yeah, it smells like bus fumes.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah,
really nice.
It's a beautiful smell.
Really nice carbonation on it. Was a bit aggressive at first, but it seems to have eased right off. Got a very small.
It seemed quite fizzy when I was pouring it out.
Yeah.
But now it's settling down a little bit.
The head's kind of gone instantly.
Yeah.
On that is don't know whether that's the chill on the bottle. Is yours a little bit on the cloudy side?
Yes. A little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not just the chill. I thought it was the chill initially. Oh, that smells stunning.
Yep.
Let's get into this.
All right, mate.
I really want to give this a go.
Bottoms up. Cheers.
All right, cheers, mate.
Wow.
Oh, that's really easy.
That tastes like a normal beer, but then at the end, you got this soft fruity tip to it.
Yeah.
The tail of it.
There's almost no bitterness in there either. Is there?
No, there's a layer of hops. There's that layer of spice, but that fruitiness that comes over. It's not an overwhelming fruitiness either. It's just that soft sweetness that kind of comes over the top and tail end of the palate.
Yeah, that's pleasantly surprising, actually.
And the secondary sniff gives a lot more of the fruits now as well.
Yeah, I've got to say, judging by the picture that was on their website, I was a little bit concerned, and I think I said this to you before we started recording, that it was either going to be an absolutely stunning example of an American pale ale, or it was just going to taste this bottle of an American mass-produced shite that comes in a bottle with a red label.
Yeah.
But that's actually stunning. I'm really impressed with that beer. It's very gassy though.
Very gassy.
It's coming back on me instantly, that is.
You can taste the 6% in it for me, but not overwhelmingly so. I mean, it has a decent heft to it, doesn't it?
It does.
The strength stakes.
It's got it's interesting. I'm gonna resurrect a phrase from the past. It's that beer fruit is back.
Yeah.
And the reason why I resurrect it is I can't remember where I read it, but I was reading a review or a magazine or an article or somebody else's blog, and they actually used the word "it's full of beer fruitiness," and I was like, See, it wasn't just Mark that thought it tasted like beer fruits.
I'm a genius.
You are.
There's a fruitiness to it, but what fruits? I don't know. It's beer fruits.
This has got the aromas of tropical fruits, and it's got that. I think it's got there's grapefruit, I think, coming through there. It leaves a very, very light, hardly noticeable bitter taste, and there's an ever so slight peppery kick in there as well at the end, but none of it's overpowering.
See, I'm getting, on my palate, I'm getting kind of a mix of peach and mango.
Okay.
The really soft sweetness, and the mango having a little bit more strength to it. About that kind of soft tropical fruit taste to it.
It's like an alcoholic umbongo.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know that, do you? No, I've got to stop. Got to stop talking about my childhood English drinks that you've got no idea what they
Umbongo.
Umbongo. I tell you what, loads of people that listen to the show will know what umbongo is because they'll remember the tune that went with
right.
the advert. When you're finished on here tonight, look it up on YouTube.
I'm going to go and just walk into the front room and say to the missus, umbongo, what is that? And she'll go, ah!
Yeah.
But she's only like a year younger than you. She'll get it.
She'll start singing it.
She probably will as well. She's a proper 80s child.
Yeah, it was one of those. But no, this is a really, really great beer actually.
Ooh, that fruitiness at the end just really softens the entire thing, and it's gorgeous.
It's so well balanced as well. So well balanced.
If this is an example of Hawaiian Pale Ale, more please.
Yeah. Well, let's see what else they do in their range, because I don't think they do a lot of beers in their range. They do Longballed Lager, Pipeline Porter, Big Wave Golden Ale, Wailua Ale, Cocoa Brown, and then this one. So they've got about six beers.
Okay.
In their range, and they seem to have all styles covered within that. So I can tell you a little bit about the brewery now as well, if you like.
Please.
Seamless. They
you
first
can see why we've lasted 49 episodes, can't you?
Well, yeah, because we're that good.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
They first started producing beer in 1995, and this was one of the Fire Rock Pale Ale was one of their first beers that they produced. They are based in Hawaii, a father and son concern. Their recipes and beer specifications are dictated by their brewmaster, who oversees all of their partner breweries as well, where the beer's brewed and packaged. That's probably why there's a list of them on the side of the bottle. To the point where a sample of every beer that's brewed in one of their other breweries is sent to Hawaii for kind of quality control to make sure it's in line with what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they seem to be quite an established brand, and I've actually, now reading through that, I've actually tried one of their other beers. I've tried their Big Wave, because you can buy that in bottles in the Parcel Yard in King's Cross station. I've tried that, which I wasn't that blown away with. I thought that was a fairly standard attempt at a golden ale, but this is an incredible beer, actually. I am really pleasantly surprised by this tonight.
Yeah, this is lovely. I would definitely have this one again.
It's almost up there for me probably as the highlight of the season so far. It's probably challenging the other two that are standout beers for me, particularly from the American beers that we've done, are still the Odell 5-barrel Pale Ale and the Bear Republic Red Rocket. Those are the two standouts for me. This I'm putting up there with those two at the moment because I think it's head and shoulders above some of the others that we've done.
Agreed. This is a real surprise, this beer.
Oh, pardon me again.
Very much of a surprise.
A pleasant surprise. Very, very pleasant surprise.
I've finished mine. I'm done. That was easy. At 6%, I couldn't do too many, but bloody hell, it'd be easy to do them.
You know what? That's a 6% that'd creep up on you as well.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be knocking them back, and before you knew it, you'd be on your backside, crawling and begging for somebody to take you home and put you to bed.
Yeah, doing the luau down the high street. That's what I'd be doing.
Yeah.
Oof.
No, that was nice. Enjoyed that. Got a lovely hit of bitterness off that last mouthful there, but still not overpowering. Not the sort of bitterness of the last couple that have kind of hung around in the mouth for a little bit and hung around on the palate. That's very well balanced in terms of the bitterness in there, and very well balanced with the fruit flavours, and the hops are there, but they're in the background. Like that a lot.
Yep, and for the purposes of Untapped, mate, what rating would you give this?
That is going to go in as a 4.5.
That's exactly the same rating I've just given it.
For me. I think the only reason that it's not going in as a 5 is because it's. I think I've got a new personal rating system on Untapped now that 5s are for absolute knock your bollocks off good, amazing beers, special beers. Oh look, he's got a badge as well.
Got a badge. Got an American beer badge.
Love the badge. Love the badges.
Yeah, this is great. You get that. I would say you get the typical pale ale hoppiness coming through, but then that really rounded tropical fruit bit at the end, and that just kind of falls as a soft layer on your palate. It's just beautiful.
Yep.
And the really fresh
Mate,
nose
that's another
to it.
one of your blinding evaluations of a bottle of beer. You are getting really, really good at summing up these beers that we're doing.
I'm a visual
I might have
thinker.
to move on and find someone new to impart my knowledge to.
Wait till we get to the Fuller's Vintage Ale next week, and I go, it just tastes like beer. Can't believe I waited a year for
See,
this.
now that's interesting because obviously I'm expecting the Fuller's Vintage Ale to be a traditional, typical English beer.
Yeah.
And therefore it will be a complete contrast to these American beers that we've been drinking. It will taste like you're eating a mouthful of your back garden. Let's be honest, because that's what English beers taste like.
Yeah.
But it'll be good to do it as a direct contrast to the American beers that we've been doing throughout the series.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right, mate. I think it's about time to wrap this up.
Yeah, that's
Our bottle's done. A great beer from Kona. Congratulations, guys. I'll be looking for those again, that's for sure. We've got a very special 50th episode coming up next week.
Yes, we have. And obviously, for those more astute people that follow what we do, we were originally going to do the 50th, not the 50th, the Fuller's as our Christmas special beer. So we've moved that. We've just left a gap in our schedule for a new Christmas special beer, which we're not going to reveal just yet. We're not going to put on the website.
Dun.
It's going to be a surprise. Can probably count on one hand the amount of people that actually care. But yeah, we're going to have fun with the beer that we've gone for as our end of season beer this season. But I'm also very much looking forward to the 50th episode next week, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm expecting party hats, those blower things that go meow, meow, party poppers, the works. It's our 50th birthday party. Woo!
Yeah, why not? Right. All right, mate. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's been the highlight of my week.
It has been the highlight of my week as well. Right, I'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Way down deep in the middle of the Congo, a hippo took an every caught the rover on the mango. He stuck it with the others and he danced a dingy tango. The rhino said, I know, we'll call it Umbango. Umbango, let's shake it in the Congo. Python picked the passion from the mama, said the mandarin, the parrot painted bandits, got the hunk of voodoo landed in. So when it comes to sun and fun and goodness in the jungle, they all prefer the sunny funny one they call Umbango. Libby's Umbango.